Hey there, how's it going? Welcome back to the show where I talk about random stuff that I feel like talking about. You might be wondering what I'm doing here on the floor. And to be completely honest, I just felt like being on the floor for this one. It's nice and cold, it's my video, I'll do what I want, okay? So I don't really know how much of a thing this is nowadays, but back in like the mid 2000s, 90s, 80s, that span of time, there was kind of this thing that happened where when a show got kind of popular in the United Kingdom or the United States, either one of those, what tended to happen was the show in particular would kind of get like a copy of it made for audiences in the opposite region, Like a show will be doing really good in the UK, and then some US studio will look at it and be like, yeah, let's do that. I think The Office is probably the most obvious answer here, but there's actually a surprising number of shows that have gotten this treatment. Like The In-Betweeners, MasterChef, Love Island. You get the idea. It's kind of interesting, having two versions of the same show with very big differences. And that, of course, leads us into the topic of today's video. The IT Crowd was a British sitcom primarily created by Graham Linehan and Ash Atala and originally broadcast on Channel 4. The show revolved around the employees of the IT department of the fictional Renham Industries and the many misadventures that they found themselves in. The IT Crowd as a show is a very special thing to me. I've seen each episode 1,000 times, and I honestly consider it to be one of my favorite shows of all time. And I'm sure you figured it out by now, but with the success of the IT Crowd, it did end up getting picked up by an American network, and its own American version was created. The main difference between these two versions is that while the IT Crowd in the UK is absolutely fantastic, the US version is literally like the worst thing ever. And so today, I kind of wanted to go through the pilots for each version, take a look at them, see each difference, nitpick a few things. And I kind of want to demonstrate what it is that makes the US version just absolutely inferior. I don't really have anything else to say for a segue, so let's just go. So the pilot kicks off by introducing us to one of our main characters for the show, a woman named Jen Barber. She's beginning her first day at her new job at Renham Industries. The first scene of the pilot being a meeting between her and her boss Denham, and right away we have a problem. Okay, so this is something I'm going to be bringing up a lot throughout this whole thing, just because it's such a prevalent issue, and it's the casting. The original show had near perfect casting. Pretty much every actor filled their role perfectly. The US version, with its casting, pretty much sucks out all the enjoyable factors that these characters had in the original, and I think Denham is the most obvious example. In the UK version, he's played by Chris Morris, while the US version has him played by Rocky Carroll. And, Chris Morris does such a good job of showing off what kind of person Denham is in this first interaction with Jen.
So, first date.
Yes.
Scary.
Yes.
Don't be scared.
Well, I'm not really scared.
You should be.
Well, I'm a little bit scared.
Well, don't be.
Make up your mind.
So here you are.
He's eccentric, he's unpredictable, he's serious and kind of crazy. That's the kind of person that's demonstrated here, and that personality is very important when it comes to his interactions with other characters later in the series. The US version just doesn't have any of that. He just feels like a normal guy.
Well, you certainly seem to know your stuff. That's settled. I got a good feeling about you, Jen, and they need a new manager.
It's just he's not fun to watch. And I don't mean this as an insult to the actor himself. I mean, I haven't seen him in anything else, but he's been in plenty of other stuff, so I assume that he's a good actor. It's just that he doesn't have that same energy that's required for a role like this, So Jen is placed as the head of the IT department of the company because on her application she noted that she had a lot of experience with computers.
I'm going to put you in IT, because you said on your CV you have a lot of experience with computers.
I did say that on my CV, yes.
And this is when we get our introduction to the members of the IT department itself. Two guys, Roy Treneman and Maurice Moss, or just Moss as most people call him. Now, in the UK version, Roy is played by Chris O'Dowd, whereas the US version has him played by Joel McHale. Moss, on the other hand, is interesting because he's the only character to be played by the same actor in both versions, that being Richard Ayoade. I guess I can see why they would recast Iowati for the American version, because like the character of Moss is probably like the most iconic thing about the series. And it's like there aren't really that many actors that can like portray that kind of like nerdy, socially awkward angle that like Iowati has for the original series. And in that case, his performance is probably the one I have like the least problem with, just because it's pretty much the same across both versions.
Hello, IT. Yaha. Have you tried forcing an unexpected reboot?
This does lead me to the character of Roy, specifically the fact that he's completely butchered in the US version. Chris O'Dowd's interpretation of the character is pretty much perfect. He's a very apathetic guy who does not care about doing his job well, and this really comes across in his performance of the character.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Oh, okay, well, the button on the side, is it glowing? Yeah, you need to turn it on.
Mikhail tries to do the same thing, but there's something about his delivery that just doesn't work. Like, I don't quite know how to explain it. He just doesn't sound natural.
Okay, well, the button on the side, is it glowing? Yeah, we're gonna need to turn it on. Well, you just press it. You press the button. You press it in. All right.
And another thing, and this is going to sound like a really weird complaint, but bear with me, but Mikhail is just way too attractive. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would end up in a dead-end job of an IT department, you know? He looks like he should be modeling for some underwear company or something. Also, I really don't like the way he says this line.
Hello, IT, have you tried turning it off and on again?
The way he says it is like he knows how much of an iconic phrase it is, and yeah, that's another one of the most well-known parts of this series. It's a phrase that's said a lot of times. It's practically a catchphrase.
Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off and on again? Hello, IT? Have you tried turning it off? You know what? I'm sick of saying that.
It's just like, I don't like the way he says it here.
Hello, IT, have you tried turning it off and on again?
Like he says it, and then he like turns and winks to the camera and is like, yeah, I said the thing. So Jen is brought down to the ID department office located in the basement of the company building, and this is where our three leads meet each other for the first time. There isn't necessarily anything wrong with the scene where they all encounter each other, but there is kind of a funny difference between both versions, because when Roy and Moss meet Jen for the first time, they try to like impress her by like seeming as like these really cool dudes, and it's like like the way they try to impress her is like different, like between both versions.
Yes, I believe it was Tolstoy who said, "Oh, it seems we have a visitor." I'm sorry, myself and Maurice were just engaged in quite a serious discussion about books and such.
So I had no choice but to wrestle the alligator to the ground and kill it with my bare hands.
Which is when I nursed it back to life with my bare hands.
I don't know, I just kind of find it funny that like the UK version has them try to be like more intellectual, where the US is like them trying to be like as manly as possible. I don't know, it's kind of funny. I forgot to mention that the character of Jen is played by Catherine Parkinson in the UK version and Jessica St. Clair in the US. And like, again, I haven't seen Jessica St. Clair in anything else. I'm sure she's a good actress, but she just doesn't have like that same energy that the original has, you know?
I'm the new head of this department. Is this my office?
What?
I'm the new head of this department, so is this my office? Oh, that's exciting.
So Jen announces herself as the new head of the IT department, causing Roy to get irrationally angry. He goes to confront her about it, and this is the point in the episode where I noticed probably the biggest problem with the US version, and that's the delivery of the lines and the pacing. Like, okay, I'm gonna play the same clip from both versions and see if you can figure out the problem here.
Hi, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I wasn't informed of any changes to this department.
Oh, did they not tell you about me?
No, and we are perfectly fine down here, thank you very much. We're more than capable of taking care of ourselves.
Sure, sure. You know you're covered in blood.
I don't want to be rude or anything, but I wasn't informed of any changes to this department.
Oh, did they not tell you about me?
No, and we are perfectly fine down here, thank you very much. We are more than capable of taking care of ourselves.
Sure, sure. You know you're covered in blood.
Okay, first of all, the way they talk in the US version bugs me like so much. They don't talk normally. They talk like a person on a sitcom, you know? Their voices are like exaggerated. The UK actors speak like people normally speak. I mean, granted, there are points where their voices are exaggerated, and I get it. It's a sitcom. You gotta overplay things sometimes.
Sorry, but I'm not going to be able to deal with that woman.
I'm just saying that, like, the unnatural way that the US actors talk, it drags things down. It doesn't feel right, and I can't really get into it as much, you know? Also, side note, but, like, the US version of the set looks bad, too. Like, it looks like a 2010s Nickelodeon sitcom set. It's too bright, for one thing. Like, they're supposed to be in a basement. And this is going to come off as, like, so contradictory, but it's, like, it's at the same time too cluttered, but too simple. The UK set looks used. It was dirty. It was grimy, especially in the first season. There's a bunch of crap in the background, but, like, it looks like it's put there with, like, purpose. It looks like stuff people would actually use. It wasn't just, like, thrown in the background for the sake of having a background. I don't know. Like, am I getting too nitpicky at this point? Like, I'm complaining about a sitcom from 2006. All right, just leave me alone. So Roy and Moss learn that Jen is completely illiterate when it comes to technology. She has absolutely no idea what she's doing and is very clearly unfit for the head of the IT department. They take her up to Denham's office to rat her out and get her removed because the three of them don't function well as a team. Now, a lot of this scene revolves around one specific joke, which in the UK version is delivered absolutely perfectly by Chris Morris.
Excuse me. Hello? What? Well, if you can't work as a team, you're all fired. That's it, you heard me. Fired. Get your things and go. Hello, security. Everyone on floor 4 is fired. Escort them from the premises. And do it as a team. Remember, you're a team, and if you can't act as a team, you're fired too. Dawn, get on to recruitment. Get them to look for a security team that can work as a team. They may have to escort the current security team from the building for not acting like a team.
The whole joke, of course, being that Denham values teamwork to such an extent that without a second thought, he will fire people for not working like a team. And, like, I can't stress this enough. The US version just sucks out all the humor and the charm of this scene.
Hello. What? Well, if you can't work together as a team, then you're all fired. That's it. You heard me. Fired. Get your things and go. Hello, security. Everyone on floor 4 is fired. Please escort them from the premises and do it as a team. Remember, you're a team, and if you can't work as a team, you're fired too. Judy, call HR. Have them look for a security team that can work as a team. They may have to escort the current security team from the premises for not acting like a team.
I know I sound like a broken record here, but it bears repeating. The US actors just don't have the same charm and charisma for a script like this, you know? Again, I'm not trying to, like, bring down any of the actors. They are good actors. It's just that, like, they just don't work here. So to keep themselves from getting fired, the three of them essentially have no choice but to put up with each other. And then this woman comes down and proceeds to beat up Roy, which was a joke set up earlier in the episode when Roy acts like an ass to a woman on the phone. And it's like, do I even need to say it at this point?
Not the face, not the face!
No, not the face.
Oh my god, are those Manolos?
Oh, yes.
They are gorgeous. Were they expensive?
So Jen realizes that she can use her skills with working with people to raise the IT guys' popularity with the employees upstairs. So they organize a party, which seems to do the trick, until Moss accidentally tells a very embarrassing story.
Well, one night we were really drunk.
Yeah.
And we were so drunk that we decided to hire prostitutes.
Oh, isn't that that just the best story? Oh, man.
You told me to never tell that story to anyone.
Well, what are you talking about? That's a brilliant story. And then you nearly walked into the canal. Let's get to that part with the boatman.
Oh. You mean the story where I lost my glasses?
Yes.
Their popularity tanks again, and the three are left as social pariahs. And there you go, that's both pilots. I don't really know if there's anything left to say that I haven't said already. I think everybody who's seen the US pilot can agree that it's crap. Like, everybody agrees. And everybody agreed to such an extent that the US version actually never aired. The whole pilot was like completely done and filmed, and it was originally intended to premiere on NBC, but the entire show just ended up getting completely scrapped, and the pilot never even made it to broadcast. The whole show just didn't work. I mean, the only reason people know of how bad it is nowadays is because later on, the pilot ended up getting leaked onto the internet. It's how I saw it. It's how everybody saw it. And yeah, it's just known as like an inferior version of a great show. There was a German version of the IT Crowd, apparently, which was somehow even worse. I mean, that's just what I hear, because like I tried to find footage of the German version, but I can't find any. There, as far as I'm aware, the German version has completely vanished off the face of the internet. I mean, if nothing else, the bad US pilot does make me value the original even more. And it does make me wonder, like, how the show would have gone if it had continued for more than one episode, you know? Like, I'm genuinely curious, like, who they would have casted for characters like Richmond, or Douglas, or, I don't know, Peter File. Like, I don't know, maybe it would have found its footing later on. You know, not all shows start off super great. You know, sometimes they kind of start like crap and they find their footing later on. So I don't know, maybe the show would have gotten super great later on. If I've made you at all interested in the show yourself, then I do highly recommend it. The entire series is available on Netflix, so if you have a subscription to that, then you're all set. But yeah, UK version good, US version bad. That's really all there is to it. I don't really know how to end videos, so did you see that ludicrous display last night?